Alright, so we've got these guys all brazed up. The next step is to drill. So this shows 7/8. That's 875 thousandths. This hole has no dimension. So I'm just going to have to wing it. I'm going to zero out the height gauge and then put 875 on it, which is 7/8. It's not real critical as long as the flywheel clears the bottom. And maybe I ought to check that. Again, I'm just going to stick to the article and see how it turns out. 7/8 and below the 9. Get it close like that, see, and then tighten up the vernier. Bring it up to 875. Once you use these a little bit, they're actually quite easy to use. And mark a line across there. And then the next thing I'm going to do is mark a center line. Neither one of these came out at exactly an inch. This one's close. But when you take in the bends of the metal and the thickness of the metal on each side, it's more than an inch from here to here. And if you just measure it based on an inch, then it's going to look funny because it won't be in the center of this whole assembly. I use it for everything. And it says permanent marker, and as long as you keep it away from alcohol, it is permanent. But you can get it off your fingers or off somewhere you don't want it to be with denatured alcohol. Alright, now let's lay this thing over on its side. And here's my my super duper parallels, which are there. So, alright, 1.283. That's going to be the halfway point of it. Alright, I got the two center lines drawn. The second one came out a lot closer than the first one did. So you flip it over and do the other side, and the lines aren't together. So you just put your drill bit in the middle between those two lines. It's actually another way of finding center. Just come into where you think it's close as you possibly can, flip it over, do another line, and between that line is where the center is. So this thing, I made a discovery, this thing is off by 3 thou. But I got it done, and then we'll go over and drill. Before I drill, actually, I'm going to mark these holes here. I'm going to decide where those go and mark the upper holes. So I need a 3/16 hole here and a 3/16 hole here. So I'll punch those. I'll mark them and punch them. And then we'll drill them over on the Inco mill. Alright, based on my brilliant deduction here, I think this hole is about 300 thou down from the top. So I've marked it on my calipers, and I've etched a line at 300 thou below that. I think that's in the ballpark. I just move this along the line until it stops on that other line. If you get a good scribe line, it'll stop. A nice, delicate, small punch will just stop on the cross line. You don't even have to look, you can feel it. And then hit your punch. You can do it very quickly, very accurately. You can see those came out dead on. There's that 3/1000th mistake. I can still move this along here till it just stops right on that cross line. Boom. Perfect. These are marked. We'll take them over to the mill and drill all the way through to drill through both pieces. This one and this one. Okay, I have the frame, the engine frame, mounted on 1.25" parallels. A center drill here. Start these holes. The distance between the two holes, and you could just dial that in. You could do it with your hand wheels. Or CNC, you could just set it in your program and have it do it. We don't know because there's nothing on the plan. So we just hope it's right. As long as the flywheel clears the ground, or the base. Let's see if it's in the center. See if it looks like it. Looks pretty good. I'll make a little adjustment on it. Alright, that's good. Now, while I have it in the setup, I'm going to go ahead and go all the way through to the back plate. Got a nice sharp drill bit. Center it up right over this hole. Oh! What the hey? Something isn't right. Must have a chip in there. No, that drill bit's bent. What's that doing in my box? New drill bit. Doesn't look too bad. Sharps. Let's take off of that. Alright, that's one. Now since I have a divot in here, and this drill bit is undersized, I've got a punch mark. So I think I can go without using the center drill. Give it a try. See if it's going to wander. Oh, that nice punch mark. Made it easy. Alright, that's the way you do that. Let's lower the table a little bit. Loosen the vise. It all falls apart. Alright, there we go. I marked that number 2 so I know which parts are what, because number 1 was a little smaller. Now the fun part is I can go and see how the flywheel is going to look in there, just for fun. Alright, it's going to work. It clears, got plenty of clearance here. Just a little worried about that. It worked. We're done on that. The next step is to make these little bushings. And I'm going to make them 3/8 by the 3/16 with the 1/8 inch hole in the middle. And I don't know, maybe a 1/4 inch wide. All it says here is bearings. 2. It doesn't have any dimensions on it whatsoever. Okay, we're back over at the south bend. And I needed a piece of 3/8 inch brass or bronze to make those. I found this bathtub faucet control, and it's 3/8 inch, so I'm going to use it to make 4 of these. So the first thing I have to do is kind of clean it up to 3/8, and then I'll mark it 1, 2, 3, 4. Main stem of this thing measures 375, 3/8 inch, so it's right what I need. Just using high-speed steel on this. Brass is pretty easy to cut. I'll just cut this off right about here. We'll do that with the hacksaw. Oh gosh, that's dull. Oh my gosh. That one's dull. Get another one. It's a little better. It is cutting. Oh, why fight it? I converted my old bandsaw to through an article in Home Shop Machinist. I converted my bandsaw to cut metal, so I'm going to run over there and just slice this off. I'll be back in a minute. Alright, that was easy. So I'm just going to bring this these threads down to 3/8 of an inch, and then I'm going to flip this over and use this side 3/8 of an inch and then 1/4 inch. Zoom, 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 zoom. Here we go. Now you can see it much better. I'm going to face off the front now. Alright, now I want to mark off 3/32 or something for the wide part. Okay, so I've turned this, I marked this at 3/32. Probably going to make use of my carriage stop here. I'm going to zero it out. Alright, we're going for a 1/4. So either that's 250 right there. That's it. That's done. Alright, so alright, that one's done. I'll just come back in and clean up the back, and I'll do all those at once. Clean up the back and drill the hole. So this takes up a lot less material on the saw than the cutoff tool would too. So let's do the next one. Alright, take this over and cut it off. That'll be 2. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the next step is I'm going to spin these around and put them in the chuck on the other side and face off the rough saw, and then size them to 3/32. Here we go. Just going to drill this. Get a center drill in the chuck. Okay, I brought up the tailstock. Lock it down. Just gonna center drill this. I'm holding this on this little teeny stub there. That's all that needs. Put a 120 drill bit in there. Drill bits tend to go oversized for any number of reasons, but one is it may not be too sharp. Another is you may not. This chuck right now I only have it dialed into maybe 3 to 5 thousandths. You just chuck a piece up in there. You only get it's going to be out a little bit. So it's going to drill a little oversized. So that's why I use a much smaller drill bit, quite a 5,000 smaller drill bit, and then come in with a reamer and ream it accurately. This one will go all the way through. That was easy. There it is. Grab the reamer and the 1/8 inch reaming bit. You can get these that are 1/1000ths over or 1/1000ths under if you're really getting the precise work. That's it. Alright, that one's done. So just to go back to show what I'm doing here, I'm making the bushings. So one of these bushings goes on the front and one goes on the back. That's the picture of the bushing, and there it is. This is the real deal. Looks pretty close. Now, one thing I can check here. Here's the makeshift crankshaft. That's a pretty good fit. Alright, I just have I have 3 more to do. And actually as I make them, it goes quicker and quicker. I'm going to use the finished one as a marker, as a gauge to see if I have to go any further. It's an eensy bit. So let's knock it back. Okay, that's measuring good, and I'm just going to touch it with a file real quick. This file has no edge, a smooth edge, so if I hit my jaw, hit my chuck, I don't ruin the jaws. Yeah, that's salvageable. That's all right. The carriage stop's up against the stop. So I take one that I finished. That's closest to 93. This one. Ooh, that's close up shot, isn't it? And measure it. Oh yeah, that looks good. You can see it's right there. This thing's in the way. Next step is to drill. Drill, and ream. If you're making a production of these, you're making 100 of them. You can put this in the tailstock, this little turret, and you could have the drill, the center drill, and the reamer, and you just click it through. It has a little release, and you Zzz. That's handy. These are when you find these at the shows, you know, it's pretty expensive. I think that was like $135. Even these things, the little holders. I don't know what the proper name for these is, but they fit in the holes, and they have different ones that do different functions. But they're like $35, $45 a piece just for the little holder thing. All right, look at that. I have to do all this camera stuff. I have these done by now. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, about 20 minutes ago my battery died. Then I had to run in the house, get the charger for the camera and bring it back out. I only have one battery. This is a small budget operation, to be sure. That's it. Look at that puppy. 1, 2, 3, 4.